What's up guys, it's your boy Jack Atlas coming through with another deck profile, this time going over to new support for my very own Resonators. With the release of the King of Vermilion mini box, Konami added a few Resonator cards to help increase the consistency and common potential of the deck. On top of this, they gave us a brand new boss monster in Red Nova Dragon, which we don't actually play. Realistically, we're only adding 2 new cards from the box, but they add the missing touch that the deck was missing previously. On top of this, Konami released a new skill for the king himself in the form of Demon's Resonance, which allows you to reveal one Resonator monster to return any card in your hand to the deck to add any low 4 or lower fiend monster from your deck to your hand. An insanely versatile search that can be used twice per duel, this skill allows you to attack in one of fiend monsters, searching them whenever you need. The drawback of the skill being that the monster added, or any monster with its name, cannot activate their effects that turn. However, that's not really a problem in most cases with the cards we play. The skill also requires that you play 10 or more Resonator cards or fiend monsters in your deck, and that your extra deck only contains Dragon Synchro monsters to prevent the skill from being completely busted. Our general combo involves Crimson Resonator, which special summons itself if we control no monsters. We then special summon Wandering King Wildwind, and suddenly we have a level 6 Synchro without needing our normal summon. Resonator Call essentially acts as 3 more copies of Crimson Resonator, and with the skill, we could easily search out the Wandering King Wildwind. Even with the skills restriction, we're able to successfully special summon Wildwind when controlling Resonator to combo off without our normal summon. Wildwind special summon is not a once per turn, so if you have multiple copies, we could special summon all of them. You then synchro summon into Red Rising Dragon, which can resummon Crimson Resonator from the grave to activate Crimson's other effect, which special summons a different Resonator monster from your hand or deck if you control a Dark Dragon Synchro, which Red Rising Dragon just happens to be. Using Crimson Resonator's effect, we summon Red Resonator from the deck, which allows us to gain life points equal to the attack of one monster on the field when it is special summoned. While the point of the Red Resonator is to summon it off of Crimson Resonator as a level 2 tuner, the massive life point gains help make it incredibly difficult to OTK this deck. A turn 1 board of Red Rising Dragon, Crimson Resonator, and Red Resonator is typically very difficult to OTK when you have 6100 life points on top of that. On turn 2, you typically use those tuners to climb into Dark and Dragon, which can non-destructively remove a monster at the cost of 500 attack points. If you need more power or to remove a bunch of defense position monsters instead, you could always go into Red Dragon Archfiend, but TBH, your real boss monster is the Dark Dragon right here. You could then use the second tuner to climb again into the hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane. If we have Red Dragon Archfiend in the grave, we could tribute a monster to resummon that Red Dragon Archfiend using Bane's effect. Considering we could climb all the way into Bane without even needing our normal summon, it's not unlikely to be able to end on a board of Red Dragon Archfiend along with the Bane. You can still make Bane off of a Dark and Dragon, however. Even without its revival effect, it's useful to be able to OTK after using Dark End's effect. If you don't start with Crimson Resonator, Red Resonator still enables combos, just with a lower ceiling. With Red Resonator and Wildwind, you could still make Red Rising Dragon resummon the Red Resonator from the graveyard to gain 2100 life points and then climb into Dark and Dragon if needed. The nice thing about this deck is that it can consistently follow up. The turn after Wildwind was sent to the grave, we could banish it to add any of our Resonator monsters, guaranteeing we have a Resonator in hand to trigger our skill to search another Wildwind to combo off again. Wildwind search isn't a hard once per turn, so you can search multiple Resonators off of multiple Wildwinds in the grave, and you can still add another copy of Wildwind with the skill after using its search effect that same turn. We played Doomcaliber Knight as a 1-of since we can search it, and the negation puts a lot of pressure on your opponent on turn 2. Just be careful not to activate any of your own monster effects while it's on the field. That would very much not be cash money. Speaking of negates, we also play Solmen Scolding at 3 to provide additional pressure on the opponent. Typically, Scolding is balanced by its huge life point cost. However, thanks to Red Resonator's life point gain, we could potentially resolve all 3 Solmen Scolding in a duel while still having life points to spare. Next, we play Hey Trunade Go Brrrr because we want to OTK, and backrow makes us sad. We also play Forbidden Lance for the same reason. While the deck can play through backrow decently well, it's nice not to have to deal with a well-timed floodgate trap hole if we can help it. Finally, I tucked in a copy of Lightning Vortex. I play 1 copy since the discard cost can be steep, but you might want to play more to see it more often. This is to play through things like Steel Swarm Roach, which can very much hard counter this deck otherwise. The only real main deck out we have is the Doomcaliber Knight crashing into it with its 1900 attack. This should really be 3 copies of Book of Moon, but I'm trying really hard to make YouTube not hate me, so just play Lightning Vortex. Other things that you could play instead of this though would be Forbidden Chalice, for example. Taking the most advantage we can of the skill, other things that can be added to the deck are Skullmeister, Sphere Karibo, and Goblin of Greed, all fiend tech cards that can be searched off the skill to consistently grab whatever the meta might require. And that's the deck. And while I don't think this deck will break the meta, it's a very consistent OTK deck that has some really fun combos and nice follow plays. It can find itself losing steam often, and can often struggle to cinch the OTK before the opponent can follow up, but when it pops, it pops. In the meantime, here's some gameplay footage of the deck. Be sure to subscribe so I feel super good about myself, and maybe you can watch another video. This time we got ourselves a replay versus Kai, but they got themselves a 10 win streak versus our small PP7 win streak. Let's see if we could break theirs and maintain ours. As we go first, we have the Hey Trunade Go Brrrr card. We're not going to use it right now. Instead, we're going to activate the Resonator's Call to add a Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand. We're then activating Demon's Resonance to reveal Crimson Resonator, return a Crimson Resonator from our hand to the deck to add the Wandering King Wildwind from the deck to the hand. We're then special summoning the Crimson Resonator, which is going to allow us to then special summon the Wildwind. We got ourselves a Red Rising Dragon, which is going to allow us to special summon from that graveyard the Crimson Resonator. We're then going to normal summon the Doomcaliber Knight, and we pass. We simply pass. They're going to have to now deal with the Caliber Knight to activate any monster effects, and that is exactly what they will do as they activate the Book of Money to flip us face down so that they can now freely summon the Sage with Eyes of Blech to add the White Stone of Ancients from the deck to the hand. Activating the Cards of Constance, they're going to be able to discard that White Stone of Ancients to draw 2 cards, setting a back row, and in the end phase, they're going to be able to special summon from the deck a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Back down to us, we're going to go ahead and immediately activate that Hey Trunade, which is going to prompt them to respond with that second Book of Moon they had set. That Book of Moon is going to flip down their Sage, which is a smart play. We're going to then flip up the Doomcaliber Knight, get her off the field, because now it'll only do more harm for us than good. As we Synchro summon into another Red Rising Dragon, we special summon back that Crimson Resonator so we can Synchro it off into a Dark End Dragon. Dark End going to lose 500 attack so we can remove the Blue Eyes White Dragon, then banish Wildwind so we can add Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand. Activating a Resonator's Call just to thin the deck even more, we add another Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand, and then return one of those Crimson Resonators with the skill so we can add another Wandering King Wildwind from the deck to the hand. Normal summoning that Wildwind, we're going to attack into the face down Sage, we're going to attack for 2100, and 2100 yet again is game. This time we're going up against Jesse Anderson, and we're going first with a relatively playable hand as we go ahead and activate the Resonator Call to add Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand. Then we're going to special summon that Crimson Resonator and special summon the Wandering King Wildwind afterwards. We haven't even used our skill yet. As we special summon the Red Rising Dragon, we're going to special summon from the graveyard the Crimson Resonator, then activate its effect so we can special summon from the deck the Red Resonator so we can gain 2100 life points and end our turn. 30 card deck, we don't know what to expect, and it is a Lightning Vortex as they discard a card so they could pop our whole field. They discarded a Karma Cut to do so, setting a back row, normal summoning the Chandler. It does not seem to be live, so they just ties that boost to attack for 1500 and end their turn. Now in this situation, even if they manage to full combo off with the Chandler, we'd still have Hey Trunade to be able to say get out of here. Regardless, we're going to activate the Wildwind to banish itself, adding a Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand. Hey Trunade Go Brrrr, then we're going to Demon's Resonance, reveal the Crimson Resonator to return the Solmen Scolding, adding a Wildwind rather from the deck to the hand, special summoning that Crimson Resonator, special summoning that Wildwind as well, and we have Red Rising Dragon. In this situation, we could have climbed all the way into a Red Dragon Archfiend alongside a Red Dragon Archfiend Bane, or we could have just used Dark End Dragon to remove. Our options were there. GG easy or something like that. Now we're going second versus Yuma. Let's see if this is Onomats. Spoiler alert, if I'm saying it probably is the thing that I'm thinking it is because I've already done this duel and watched this replay prior. Anyway, we have ourselves the Gaga Sister, which happens to have 2 effects. The first one is going to allow them to add the Gaga Bolt from the deck to the hand, revealing the coat to special summon it, using Sister's effect to put the levels of both those monsters to 6 so they could go into turn 1 Photon Strike Bouncer, ending their turn. This is where Book of Moon or Lightning Vortex or any of those types of cards are incredibly helpful, or even something like a Chalice. So unfortunately we don't have any of those cards right now, and we didn't get to go first to set up our own Solmen Scolding, so we're going to have to just try to play through this Bouncer. As we activate the Crimson Resonator's effect so that we can then special summon the Wandering King Wildwind, we make ourselves a Red Rising Dragon, which will attempt to special summon the Crimson Resonator from the graveyard. They negate it because they are a sensible human being, but we say our hand is nutty enough to say that's fine as we activate the Demon's Resonance, revealing the Red Resonator to then return the Solmen Scolding, adding back the Wandering King Wildwind from the deck to the hand instead. Normal summoning the Red Resonator, which has an effect that is actually relevant in the situation. Special summoning another Red Resonator from the hand. We're then going to gain 2700 life points off of the bouncer using the effect of the special summon Resonator So then we can Synchro climb into Dark and Dragon to remove that bouncer. We then normal summon, or rather special summon, the Wandering King Wildwind, so we could go into another Red Rising Dragon play, which is going to allow us to special summon the Crimson Resonator from the graveyard. And honestly, we could have climbed into Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane, but it wouldn't have added anything for us in this situation. So we just go ahead, we attack for 2100. In case they have a hand trap, we at least have the Crimson Resonator in defense mode to give us another body on board to defend, but it never even needed to go that way. And that is GG easy. We are going second now, and we got to flex that 8-win streak that we currently got going on. It looks like this might be a mirror match, as it is Jack Atlas versus Jack Atlas. They're going to go first, activating their Resonator's Call. It is a Crimson Resonator that they are adding from the deck to the hand, activating their skill, revealing that Crimson Resonator, which is going to allow them to return a card from their hand to the deck to add a Wandering King Wildwind from the deck to the hand. Activating Crimson Resonator to special summon itself, and special summoning that Wandering King Wildwind as well. We got Red Rising Dragon on the field, special summoning back that Crimson Resonator, which is going to activate its effect to special summon from the deck a Red Resonator, which is going to gain them 2100 life points. Setting a back row, they end their turn. As we go ahead, we rip into the Hey Trunade Go Brrrr, so Go Brrrr is what we shall do. As we then activate our own Resonator Call, we're going to add Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand. We're then activating Crimson Resonator's effect so we can special summon itself, special summoning the Wandering King Wildwind so we can make ourselves our own Red Rising Dragon, special summoning from the graveyard that Crimson Resonator, which is going to special summon from the deck the Red Resonator. We're going to Synchro climb into this Dark End Dragon, which is going to allow us to remove that Red Rising Dragon at the cost of our 500 attack points. Special summoning another Wandering King Wildwind. Imagine once per turns. Synchro summoning into the Red Rising Dragon, which is going to allow us to still not have a once per turn effect on that monster either. Special summon the Red Resonator, which does have a once per turn on its life point game, so we will use it now to gain 2100 life points, and then we will, I guess we could theoretically have saved the Dark End Dragon's effect until after we summoned the Red Resonator, so we could have gained 2600 life points instead. So we lost that on 500 life points, but whatever. As we go climb into Red Dragon Archfiend, reveal that the Crimson Resonator in our hand to return to the deck to add Doomcaliber Knight from the deck to the hand. We're going to attack with the Red Dragon Archfiend, destroying all of their defense position monsters. We're going to attack for 1900, and we're going to attack for 2100. If it wasn't for the Red Rising Dragon saving them, this would have been 4k exactly. Red Dragon Archfiend is going to destroy all of our monsters that didn't attack this turn, which thankfully is none of them, and that is our turn. So we managed to clear their board, we managed to do a big dent in their life points, and we also have a negate for them to deal with, which they could very easily bait out by activating the Wandering King Wildwind's effect to banish to attempt to search a tuner from the deck. However, Doomcaliber Knight will tribute itself to negate that, and if they had themselves a Resonator monster in hand, then they could have potentially been able to pop off afterwards, and then we would have potentially been in a difficult situation. But the Wandering King Wildwind negate was actually relevant, so that is GG easy. This time we have ourselves a replay versus Primo, and I gotta be honest, I did this duel at like 4 a.m. and it was a little sus how some of the things happened in this duel, and regardless, we had to get ourselves a Thunder Dragon replay, so just trust. So we are going first. We have double Trunade and no monster, so the hand's a little sus considering we are assuming this is a Thunder Dragon matchup. So we activate the Resonator Call to add Crimson Resonator from our deck to the hand, which will then allow us to return the Hey Trunade, so we could add a Wandering King Wildwind from the deck to the hand instead, which allows us to essentially just actually have a playable hand now. Special summoning that Crimson Resonator, we special summon the Wildwind as well, so we could go into the Red Rising Dragon. Special summoning from the graveyard that Crimson Resonator, so we can special summon from the deck the Red Resonator. Gaining 2100 life points, we're going to set the Solmen Scolding, and we are going to end our turn. As the 30 card deck obviously has Charge of the Light Brigade, they're going to mill Duo, Lupine, and Roar to add Raiden from the deck to the hand. Normal summoning Raiden, they're going to mill Spheric Rebo and DD Crow, and then they're going to activate Dragonhawk's effect so they could actually get themselves a light monster in the graveyard to special summon the Dragon Roar. And obviously 30 card deck starts with Hawk, Charge, and Levi. As they banish 3, the Hawk, the Sphere, and the DD Crow, so they could summon the Levi near to attempt to successfully summon it. But Solmen Scolding is going to pay 3,000 life points so we can negate that summon, which means no pop for them. They do still have 2 powerful enough monsters to be able to clear through our Crimson Resonator as well as our Red Rising Dragon. So that is the end of their turn, milling with Raiden, the Battle in the Boxer Veil, as well as the Lupine. Back up to us, we rip into the Resonator Call, which is going to allow us to add the Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand. We're then going to banish Wildwind from the graveyard to add another Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand, activating Demon's Resonance to return that second Trunade that I'm sure we'll never need, so we could add Wandering King Wildwind from the deck to the hand instead. Special summoning it, we're going to go ahead and make the Red Rising Dragon, which is going to allow us to special summon the Crimson Resonator from the graveyard. Crimson Resonator is going to allow us to special summon the Red Resonator from the deck, which is going to allow us to gain 2,400 life points thanks to the Dragon Roar. We're going to then go ahead and make ourselves a Dark End Dragon. Dark End Dragon is going to pay 500 attack points, so we can remove that Dragon Roar, which is going to allow the Dragon Roar to special summon from the deck a Dragon Dark. We're not going to do any further plays just because we know we can't OTK here, and if we attack into the Dragon Dark, it's just going to give them a search that's going to make things more terrible for us. So we're going to attack into the Raiden, and they're going to respond with a Battle and Boxer Veil, which is going to gain them back those 400 life points as well as have a body on the field. In the end phase, the Dragon Dark summoned off of the Dragon Roar will go back into the hand, allowing them to discard it to add another copy of Dragon Dark from the deck to the hand. They're going to go ahead, they're going to reveal Dragon Dark yet again, adding what is now their third copy of Dragon Dark from the deck to the hand. Normal summoning another Veil to go into a Diamond Direwolf. I gotta be real, this is one of the suspects. They don't actually play Malevolent Sin in their deck for whatever reason. Otherwise, what happens following all of this would have been completely different. So Diamond Direwolf pops itself to pop our Dark End Dragon. That's the end of their turn. As we rip into Solmen Scolding, we set it. We put Crimson Resonator in attack position, and then some of the other Crimson Resonator. We say, you know what? We don't have any more ability to use the skill. We can't reliably search our last level 4s. I think we have 2 left in the deck now. So we're just going to take matters into our own hands. We're going to attack for 800. We're going to attack for 800, and we're going to end our turn. As they activate the Lured by Darkness skill, they're going to get the Lure of Darkness and activate it. We're going to say, we can't have you doing that. As we activate Solmen Scolding to negate and destroy, ending their turn. Now this bit is also a little sus, where I kind of forget that because I forgot that they used Veil, I for whatever reason thought that they actually activated the Lure of Darkness skill when they lost 1,600 life points, so I just chose not to attack with the last 2 monsters because I felt the hand trap delay, but it was actually 1,800 life points that they have to lose to every time they want to activate that. So if we attacked with another Resonator successfully, they still wouldn't have been able to trigger it. Regardless, they passed their turn, and it's back down to us. We rip it to Solmen Scolding, our third one. Unfortunately, we didn't gain enough life points this duel to be able to use it. We're going to attack for 800. We're going to attack for 800. They Sphere Karibo this time, and then they Sphere Karibo again. Man's opened every single hand trap along with Charge and Levi and Hawk, and they still couldn't beat Resonator Beatdown. That duel was sus. That was nonsense, but GG easy. We got ourselves a replay versus Yami Yugi, and we are going first now. We got ourselves a Solmen Scolding. That always feels nice. So we got ourselves Crimson Resonator, and we got ourselves a Resonator's Call, which we're going to activate, so we can add another Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand. Activating that Demon's Resonance, we're going to return the Crimson Resonator from the hand to the deck, so we can add Wandering King Wildwind from the deck to the hand. Activating the Crimson Resonator still in the hand, so we can special summon it. No normal summon for us this time. As we special summon the Wildwind, we got ourselves a level 6 Synchro. Red Rising Dragon is going to allow us to special summon from the graveyard that Crimson Resonator, which can then activate its effect to special summon from the deck the Red Resonator, which can then gain 2,100 light points equal to the attack of the Red Rising Dragon. We're going to set both the Solmen Scolding and the Forbidden Lance and end our turn. Now I know it seems stupid to set Forbidden Lance when we have Solmen Scolding, but there's very much potential that something like this could happen where the opponent Galaxy Cyclones is popping our Forbidden Lance, which leaves us with a still live negate on board. They're going to go ahead, they're going to set a back row and end their turn. So we're going to go and we're going to go nuts now, using the Red Resonator as well as the Red Rising Dragon to make ourselves a Red Dragon Archfiend. You can watch that animation at your own time. As we activate Crimson Resonator's effect to special summon another Red Resonator from the deck, activating its effect to gain 3,000 more life points. We could feasibly resolve 3 Solmen Scoldings if we wanted to. Not at the same time though, obviously. Then we climb even further beyond using the Red Resonator and Red Dragon Archfiend to make ourselves Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Bane. Activating Wildwind's effect in the graveyard, banishing itself to add Crimson Resonator from the deck to the hand, which will then allow us to activate Demon's Resonance to return that Crimson Resonator to the deck, so we could then activate nothing. We don't have to actually activate the effect of the Wildwind. We just special summon it, so we could go ahead and make another level 6 Synchro, making a second Red Rising Dragon. We're going to special summon the Red Resonator from the graveyard. Bane is going to then be able to tribute that Resonator monster, so we can special summon the Red Dragon Archfiend from the graveyard back on the field. We now just suddenly have 3 Synchros on board for lethal through like a Sphere Karibo or a Temperance. Attacking for 2100, it goes through. Attacking for 3500, it is going to stop our attack, or so they thought, as we activate Solmen Scolding, paying 3000 life points, and their greed got the best of them. The only way they could have prevented that is if they used kiteroid first. Because then I would have been potentially in a situation where I would have to consider, do I want to use Solmen Scolding to negate the second attack, knowing that they could potentially have another interruption and D-draw live afterwards. So the greed got the best of them, and something GG easy. And those are all the replays. Friendly reminder that I'm bad at outros, so see ya!